All right, walking up to catwalk. You should already be E-stopped on power 1 panel. Disconnect should be in off mode. Walking up, should already be E-stopped in remote 1. Remote 2 across the way should already be E-stopped also. We are going to look at the control 1 first. So control 1, we will put the key in. The keys are connected to the unit. Put the key in. Takes a second. Unplug key. Plug into R1. Once that's on, key is on, that's plugged in. We are now going to walk down to breaker 20. Should have showed you on that panel, to what they're calling B6. It's labeled on the main panel back there, but breaker 20 should be off. You're going to flip breaker 20 on. Come back to control unit. It will be powering on. You will then log in to this unit. Once it powers up, log in. So we're on the user screen. We have pushed in, making sure that that is E-stopped. Walking back down to the main disconnect for P1. Going to turn on this main disconnect. So now we are going to go back, double check that we are E-stopped. Everything is E-stopped. We are now on P1. That's being fed from the MDB2, which is the main disconnect that we just turned on. Now we're going to flip this on and then unset E-stop, unset E-stop, unset E-stop. At that point, we will be in reset mode. You can see across the way, possibly, that one is on. That one stays in E-stop, basically, because we're not really using that one. That's R2. By the way, this is R1. Come back over here to P1, where the main disconnect was, and we can see that that is still in the E-stop mode. From there, we can reset. And now all your E-stops are off and are ready to go into operation. Now that we are in operation, you'll go to soft limit control. This should pop up with reset comms. So we'll reset comms, it'll say good, and then reset faults. We're going to reset the faults. Always reset the faults in case something has happened prior. And if there's something is in a fault, then the motors will not move. It will seem that nothing's working, but that will be because of the reset faults. At this point, you're ready to select your array that you want to move. That this time, there needs to be somebody spotting besides just the person here that is prepared to see the motors move. You will select the array that you're wanting to move, and at that point, you will see that your faults you'll show no faults, and it will show the 2 motors that you're selecting per whichever array you're looking for. So if you go to West array, East array, and as you can see, they stay selected. So you have to unselect an array to do one array at a time. From there, you have your different storage, your show, mid-show, and maintenance. Maintenance all the way at the floor. Storage is above still. Show is going to be, at this moment, is just your standard height for basketball. The 2 of those until we decide if we need to change to another show area. And then mid-show will be around halfway down, just so the motors can reset between themselves, and then you can start down. If we're going to start down, we're going to go to mid-show, and you're just going to bump mid-show for a second, hold it down for just a second, confirming that the motors move. You got confirmation from ground guy that both motors and the entire array started on its way down. Once you have that confirmation, hold down that button that you're trying to perform until the motors go all the way to the point where they will stop. Once you have gotten to mid-show, you have stopped, you will go on down to maintenance and run the motors down to the floor. This will stop 9 inches about from the floor, so it's going to be very close to the physical basketball floor. If it's the concrete floor, you'll have a few more inches from there. To go back up, you'll go to show mode or mid-show. Either way, run all the way back up to that point. Before you go to storage, somebody needs to be on still, prepared for the motors, for the arrays to come up past still, making sure that in any swing or movement of the motors and the arrays that there is nothing that's going to intersect still while they're going up. That's going to be very important because it's not necessarily just going to present itself right off the bat. So you want to make sure that that is clear, and somebody on the ground looking up may not be able to see exactly that. Okay, we did a quick move. We created a fault. So if the system does fault, you'll see here that you have 2 reds and 2 greens showing that the reds have faulted. At that point, you can reset faults and then try moving motors again. If the faults pop back up again, e-stop, contact Pro Sound at that point, because there's something else potentially going on that's causing the faults. Once you are done moving the array, make sure that you unselect the array, select a new array if you're looking to move another array. If not, make sure you deselect the array. Be very cautious and wary of selecting array and deselecting array, because once you leave one selected and hit any one of the positions and hold that position down by accident while you're just moving around, that motor will move to wherever that stop point may be. So make sure you're unselected, and then from there we can go back home. Once we go back home, there is a manual. In manual, the go is you holding down go to move the motor. Keep in mind that at you holding this, it will not stop. So it will go all the way to the ground or all the way up. To do this, you will select the array that you're looking to move, up or down, either way. And then you will hold down the go button. Again, the motor will move as long as you're holding the go button, and there is no stopping unless you unselect go at that point. Once you are done here and you've moved that to whatever your intermediate height may be for whatever show or maintenance, if you've taken cabinets off and you're trying to go lower, anything of that nature, once you are done moving that to your new desired height, you will deselect again that motor so that you cannot hit go by accident and move any one of the arrays. And this will be performed for any array. You can, obviously there can be multiples arrays selected. Make sure you select the array, move one array at a time is the preferred manner. Unselect the array, go back home. Okay, at this point we have finished moving the motors, but we are not done. We are leaving the system unattended. At that point, we want to log out, e-stop. E-stop, which is simply pushing in, e-stop. 3 main cabinets we've been focusing on, 3 main cabinets we've been dealing with e-stopped all of them. We are now coming back up. We need to finish moving the motors, do a final set, what have you. We will then un-e-stop, pulling out, and it's a out and a twist, pull out and a twist, pull out. We are now un-e-stopped, and the resets will be lit at that point. Again, across the way, the E light should be lit up for reset also. We will then reset, back down to unit, and then log back in, which would be referring back to original video. Okay, the other half of this is we are done moving cabinets and we are ready to pack up. We will log out, push down to E-stop, down to E-stop, down to E-stop, main power 1 switch off, walk all the way down to the main disconnect for power 1, feeds power 1, off. From there you'll come back to breaker 20, that's feeding your controller 1, which there is a little label right there, control 1. We're going to turn that off, shut the panel back. From there we will come back, unplug HMI control, take the key, plug the key back in, turn the system off. Now, the HMI cable is still, the disconnect cable is still unplugged. The other side should be plugged in. This can be plugged back in, or this can be left undone, depending upon which unit, again, you're going to be operating from when you come back up. If you're ever operating from opposite unit, this will have to be plugged back in, and then your main unit will plug in across the way at remote 2. This will be plugged in, and then you'll have to reset your E-stops so that that side over there is functioning.